singer-songwriter and 2012 Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame inductee Mary Chapin Carpenter with special guest Tift Merritt at Atlanta Symphony Hall on November 14th. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.
And welcome back to AM1690, your voice of the arts in Atlanta. I'm Larry Larson, and guests in the studio, director David Crow and Jonathan Horn playing Merrick. Playing John Merrick, the Elephant Man, getting ready to open at Georgia Ensemble Theater. And David, for folks who don't know about the Elephant Man, he's not a man riding an elephant in the circus. This is a different kind of Elephant Man, and he's not Indian either.
No, not at all.
You want to talk a little about the play and the history of it, and what people can expect to see?
Well, sure. The story is, like you said, about John Merrick. He was born in the 1800s. The play takes place in Victorian England. John Merrick suffered from a couple of really specific genetic disorders, which caused his bones to grow rapidly and strangely inside his body, and the result made the skin swell and expand, and he was horribly disfigured as a young man. And growing up in that particular time, the only outlet that he had was to show himself in a sideshow. That's how he made money. And as he grew more deformed, as the illness progressed, people would see him and panic and try to kill him. So it's a fairly bleak story if you look just at the story of John Merrick. But that's basically the story of Merrick. The play itself tells a couple of different stories on a couple of different levels, though.
Yeah, and I mentioned before we went on the air, I'm a fan of the play and, of course, the 1980 movie that was so lauded, won Academy Awards for Anthony Hopkins, and I believe for John Hurt as well. I'm not positive about that, but it won a number of different awards. But my recollection of the play and the movie was it was as much about Treve, the doctor, who basically rescued Merrick, and the dynamic of whether he was examining him, researching him, or helping him. And that seemed to be that was always the tension in the play and the movie. And Treve's conscience, of course, is something that who's playing Doctor. We should mention who's playing the good Dr. Treve.
Sam Ross does a beautiful job.
And John, you're playing John Merrick. Were you aware of this play and this movie prior to getting the role?
Yeah, I think like most people, my first experience was the David Lynch movie, and I was doing Camelot with Georgia Ensemble, and a couple months ago, and Bob Farley, the artistic director, was announcing the next season, and so he started. By the time I got to Elephant Man, it was just this has always kind of been a dream role for me. And
really?
So,
well, tell me why.
Well, I think on kind of a personal level, my mom struggles with, it's kind of the opposite. She's got a bunch of different autoimmune illnesses and has not so much the physical deformity, but a lot of the, really debilitating medical issues and just the judgments that people cast on her as a result of that. And just trying to give voice to a man who was so just deeply beautiful on the inside, and his life was just characterized by so much pain, but he never became cynical, which is something that I just think is so common today, and I just think it's a story that needs to be told.
Well, it's been 35 years since, the play was 79, and then the movie came out right after that. And there's actually a book as well based on the journals of Dr. Treve. Yeah. So this is all pretty much reality that is so gripping that it's spanned the test of time in this way. I'm going to get to more of this, folks. By the way, on stage, a longer version of this interview will air on a Friday morning and also on Saturday morning. But one of the issues I'm going to get into is the acting challenge of Merrick. And, of course, the deformity is massive. And there's also the fact that he covers his face for a large part of the play, or a good part of the play.
We're actually doing one of the challenges of doing the stage show is because, I mean, the house is, what, 550? Something like that. In order to fill the space, it's all, instead of makeup and prosthetics, it's all physical choices. So my face is pretty much open for view for the entirety of the show. And
He
so
makes the transformation
yeah.
on stage.
My goodness, that's an interesting choice. Let's go ahead and tell folks how they can come and see this classic Elephant Man at Georgia Ensemble Theater. David, do you have the information there? Or
I do. You can see Elephant Man running from October 30th through November 16th at Georgia Ensemble Theater. You could go to www.get.org.
Yeah, and it plays Wednesdays at 7:30. It opens tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
And Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 8 p.m. And then there's a Sunday matinee at 2:30 p.m. and also a Saturday show on November 8th and November 15th at 4 p.m. And if you've never seen this play, or if you have and you've seen the movie, this is the new Elephant Man at Georgia Ensemble Theater. And you're here in the cubicle dance slot, so I had to include you in the cubicle dance. What I have is Jackie Wilson's Am I the Man, Bo Diddley's I'm a Man, and I've got Wilson Pickett's A Man and a Half all lined up for you, because as we know, John Merrick is a man and not an animal. Come on, let's dance.